She told us before the trial she could hardly wait to tell her story to a jury, and now she is.
Former Congresswoman Corrine Brown shed tears and evoked laughter as she testified in her own defense at her federal corruption trial. If you have the News 4 Jax app, you probably saw this push alert that we sent just about an hour ago. Brown arrived at the courthouse this morning and prayed before she went inside. We have multiple crews covering today's dramatic developments. We begin with Joy downtown. Joy?
Tom, Mary, Corrine Brown is on the stand right now. She has already finished being questioned by her defense attorney, but now she's being cross-examined by the prosecution. And we have our Eric Wallace, who's up there in court right now listening to what's going on, and he sent some notes, and he said, in a nutshell, she is testifying repeatedly that she should have paid closer attention to her personal affairs. Definitely the most emotional part of this entire trial was Corrine Brown. We're going to hear about that in just a couple of minutes from Jim Pickett, who saw her very emotional. Now, in the meantime, I want to tell you about the other people that Brown's lawyers called to the stand. 3 other witnesses. First was Brenda Simmons Hutchins. She knew Corrine Brown in high school, also through a community group. She testified about, among other things, the trip to China for students. Her grandson was among those who went to China, and they said, what was the criteria for the kids to go on that trip? She said she didn't know. She wasn't part of that process. The second witness was kind of neutral, didn't really help or hurt. Former intern and staffer for Corrine Brown said he didn't know anything about her finances. And finally, John Delaney. He is, of course, Jacksonville's former mayor, and he now is the president of the University of North Florida. He testified about his great relationship with Corrine Brown and that she's always been bluntly honest in cross-examination. He said he didn't know a whole lot about her finances, none at all, but he said he believes what she is telling the jury because she's always been honest. And that is what he told us when he left court after finished testifying.
If she says she didn't have knowledge, I believe her.
You believe that? Have you been following testimony throughout the week?
I have been, not real closely, and I, of course, haven't talked to her lawyer, but I imagine she's going to say she didn't have any idea. And as I said up there, she's honest. I mean, you get what you get with her, and I'm very fond of her work representing the city, and sorry to see her go through this.
All right, we want to know about Corrine Brown on the stand. Jim Pickett joining me now on the other side of the federal courthouse. Jim, was she able to contain herself? We know she loves to talk, and she's a very boisterous, emotional person.
As you mentioned, she's still on the stand right now. It was very interesting. When she was with her attorney talking to her, she is basically saying he was answering all of her questions, had lots of stories. Now with the prosecutor talking, that's a whole different. She's just doing yes, sir, yes, sir. Her answers are very limited at times. But I will tell you one thing she did say, Ronnie Simmons, the biggest mistake of her life, even though she loves him. She denied right off the bat, she denied any conspiracy, she denied any fraud. She, at times she was laughing, cracking jokes. But there were times she's in tears, grabbing those handkerchiefs as well. And the one thing she did throughout most of this is she is saying that she did not do this, that he did this, and that's the problem. Corrine Brown began talking about Ronnie Simmons and says, I liked him. He was a nice young man. I saw a lot of potential in him. From that point on, Brown seemed to wander about in her stories and would jump to different events that she wanted to talk about. Her attorney then would guide her back to questions, basically about the One Door for Education charity. She said she was asked, did you ever tell anyone that the money raised would only go for scholarships? She said no. There were times when Brown was in tears, when she said, clutching a handkerchief, I didn't want anyone who donated money to think it didn't go to where I said it would. Brown was also asked about donors, and she had plenty of stories about each one. She said, I heard more about One Door in the past 15 months before it was not even a major issue. Now I know it should have been. Late into testimony, she was asked more about Ronnie Simmons. What would she have done if she knew he was stealing? I would have fired him, but I loved him. Brown says she had wished she'd paid closer attention to her finances. She said, it was not intentional. I made mistakes. She also said she believes in paying my share of taxes. She said that she hardly knows Carla Wiley of the One Door Foundation and said Vaughn Alexander, who was on her staff, owed her money, and that's why Alexander was putting money into the Congresswoman's account. When it comes to lavish shopping, she joked and said she preferred the dollar stores and said she calls it Neiman markup, not Neiman Marcus. But throughout most of this, what we did hear from the Congresswoman is she didn't really know what was going on and why that money was in her account. She just didn't realize it, is what she was saying. Joy?
Jim, thanks so much. And speaking of cross-examination, she is going to have a lot of explaining to do, because one of the last things the prosecution told the jury was about that money that was found in her account, cash that was not recorded as income. So she's still up there explaining right now, and we are, of course, past the time that court has usually been in session every day of her trial this week. Now, is her defense doing a good job? Was this strategy, putting her on the stand, the right thing to do? Coming up, we're going to go to Lindsay Gardner at 6 o'clock tonight to talk about just that with a roundtable of experts, our local experts, to give us more insight about what's happening inside. For now, we're live outside the federal courthouse. Tom, Mary, back to you.
Thank you, Joy. Inside today's online coverage, hear more from defense witness John Delaney after his testimony, and take a look inside the courtroom through the eyes of our sketch artist. You can see all that and more by visiting our special section, news4jax.com/trial.